You had an incident a few weeks ago. You're a very keen athlete, you're a triathlete, you're a marathon runner. You came off the bike in a rainstorm.
Yes.
You had to be helicoptered out. First of all, just tell us what happened.
It was, there was strong rain just before the race, and this is a risk that you take in any race that you go into. So it was a bit slippery that day, and I was one of the unfortunate cyclists that went down, but it's all part of the sport.
You're also both keen motorcyclists, and you have instituted almost a family tradition now where you and other members of the family will go off on motorcycle trips anywhere in the world. Tell me the reason behind that. Why did you decide to do that?
I think one has to define this. Motorcycling has all kinds of connotations for people. Both Fernando and I like the adventure component of it. We like being able to, you know, take the beaten path and go discover countries and locations. It's been quite extraordinary. Yeah, and you know, we've had a chance to see the Philippines through eyes that most people have not seen, and a lot of that is thanks to our ability to get on two wheels and move around.
Did people recognize you? Have they ever recognized you in these far-flung places?
I don't think we're there for long enough for anyone to recognize us, but both Fernando and I, from an early age, we were both backpackers, and we actually traveled around the Philippines extensively when we were young. We just
as backpackers?
Yeah, as backpackers, and we moved around. We actually discovered many areas that we then developed from a real estate point of view because we enjoyed them so much when we were young.
Your family name has an impeccable reputation in this country, but nowhere have I read of either of you showing any interest in parlaying your business skills and your business position into politics. Is that true?
Well, there's never been an interest on the political front in the family, and certainly I don't think it's a driver of Fernando and I. I like to think, are dedicated to public service in other ways. Fernando and I are both involved in the non-profit sector. I like to think we've been committed to the broader social development goals of the country through our engagement in civil society, non-profits, and many other areas aside from just the business engagement. I think there's a lot that one can do for a country beyond the realm of politics.
Jaime, I want to ask you about your company. 178 years old. It's been through dictatorships, it's been through rebellions, it's been through world wars, it's been through occupation. What, simplistically, do you think is the secret of its longevity?
More than anything, I think the company has always sought to align itself to the national goals of the country ever since its founding back in 1834. And that's made us intrinsically part, I guess, of the fabric, I guess, of the nation. But we have not remained static. We've adjusted to the changing times. Change is not something that neither Fernando or us fear, and I think there's always been a very strong entrepreneurial drive, I guess, in past members of the family where they don't, I guess they didn't sit back and say, this is our business and this is the way it's going to be. No, we've kept an eye on the changing times, the economy, technology, partnerships, and try to adjust to those changing times and be relevant, I guess, to the needs of those times. I think that's been a major element.
Your brother mentioned the word entrepreneurial, but if you talk to most people about the Ayala Corporation, a word they will use, they will say it's a very well managed company, but it is a conservatively managed company. Can you be conservative and entrepreneurial at the same time?
I think so, absolutely. I think entrepreneurial is really about starting major new initiatives, and through history we've gone into new businesses over time. The water industry, we knew very little about the water industry and about managing a water system. There weren't any set rules at the time. It was uncharted territory for us, but we wanted to fix the water system of Manila, and we knew that that would have an impact on a lot of people that had no water in the past, and we've made a success of it. So I think we've shown that we can be entrepreneurial. At the same time, we know that the world goes through very deep cycles, and we want to make sure that the company continues over a very long period of time.
Jaime, growing up Ayala, did you have that weight of expectations on you? Did either of you? I mean, you had the responsibility for the family name, eighth generation.
No, I don't think is that way. It was certainly not the way Fernando and I grew up. Our parents always pushed us academically. They pushed us to be independent. And it just so happened that, you know, upon graduating from school, actually, my intention was to continue working in the United States. But at that time, my father said, look, why don't you come back? This is an emerging market country. Things are happening. Why don't you come back for a couple of years and see how it goes? And if it doesn't work out, no problem. We have plenty of good managers. But, you know, I fell in love when I came back and started working here.
So no pressure there? You didn't feel pressure?
There was actually, you know, there wasn't a lot of business discussion at home when we were growing up. And so the pressure was light. But obviously, we're aware that there had been a tradition.
What's the secret of mixing family and business successfully?
I guess it's in the way that they handle their children, with an enormous amount of fairness, giving everyone their appropriate amount of time, and giving everyone equal opportunities. And so that's what we've had in our family, and we just get along extremely well. We're a family of 7. It's Jaime and I and 5 sisters, and we're very, very close. And I think that'll serve us very well in this generation.
Would you like to see your children be the 9th generation leaders of Ayala?
Of course, it would be wonderful to see that family tradition continue. But the whole issue of governance on one hand and professional executive leadership on the other are 2 separate issues. And we just want to make sure that it's our duty, and Fernando and I feel it's our duty, to make sure that Ayala remains a progressive company with progressive leadership.
Do you think that this conservative side of the business...
We are stewards for the next generation, and again, this is something that has been mentioned again and again to the family members. So your focus is always on the legacy, on the history, and really looking forward to the next generation and making sure that you pass the baton in the same way that it's been passed on to you.
Great. All right.